In this video, we are going to learn about various modes in which Create React app operates. They are dev mode and prod mode. So when you do npm start, actually the application starts in dev mode, which means that and this you can see that it is also written here that note that the development build is not optimized. To create a production build, use npm run build, but we are doing npm run start. When you do npm run start, automatically this thing starts, which is generally dev mode. Okay, dev mode means that the build is the bundle which is created for you. That thing is not the bundle means that whatever the, so here you see that you can see that the additional this bundle etc which is created by react is, so this thing is definitely, this was obviously earlier not there. You can see uh, yeah, so you can see that this only till react app it was there in, if you see inside public and index html, right? But this thing was actually inserted by this create react app, so that this includes everything, like the whole react and all the other code which you have written etc, everything gets bundled into there. But the point is that that bundle is not optimized. That bundle is like development bundle. Earlier we saw, right, in product, in webpack also we saw that you can create optimized production builds or developer builds, right? In development builds, what happens that it is somewhat bigger, somewhat slower, but then it prints proper warnings and proper things whatever is needed, that is given. And and there are some other functionalities like auto refresh, hot reloading, something which what we are seeing. So for example, right now name is Alex, right? Here, now if I simply do name is Bob and I simply save it, then you can see that automatically it is getting compiled and automatically everything is done, and automatically you can see here automatically hot reloading happened, which means that automatically the content is also refreshed. These things are not available in prod mode. Okay, and that is the purpose, right? Prod mode should be faster with lesser features which are available to developers. At the time of development, you might need additional features because you are developing, some bugs will be there, some things you have to test, and all the proper logs should be there. Okay, so that is the point. Now the thing is that how to run production mode in create react app. So for that, obviously they already said that this npm run build thing you can do, which we are going to do in a bit. But before that, there is one important difference in dev mode and prod mode which I wanted to highlight, is that which actually happened after react 18. So right now we are using react 18, right? So from react 18, important difference has come, which you should understand, is that when a page is rendered, like for example this thing is rendered, then you might think that yeah, this is the thing which is rendered, right? And this thing is, let's try to do one thing, that let's print something here. So let's say I do log and just arrow something, like nothing, right? So if you save and you go to console, then you can see that 2 times it is printed, right? So you can see that when if I refresh also, 2 times it is printed, which means that for rendering just first time, see obviously this will render if you do changes. Later we'll see that if you change internal state, then it renders inside here. If you run this again, then it renders. So all those things are generally happening, but right now I have not done anything. I'm just rendering for the first time, and then also it is running 2 times. What is the purpose of 2 time running? Why don't you just run 1 time and give me the JSX is already there, right? Then what is the point of running it 2 times? This actually happened from the recent versions in order to discourage or rather you can say that in order to encourage developers to write something called pure rendering, which means that your components should do pure rendering, which means that it should try to avoid side effects as much as possible. Now all these things might be sounding like too much just random words, buzzwords, right? So let me tell you what it means. It means that if if your component is there, this component is there, right, then when you render it, then if React renders it one time or React renders it two times, actually both time the same JSX should be returned. Okay, now you might be thinking that yeah, same JSX will be returned, but sometimes it might not happen like that. So for example, let's say here I write let x is equal to 10, right, and then you do something like this, that you do something like this, let's say x is equal to x plus 1, okay, and then you let's say print x. Now you see what is happening. If React will render it two times, let me print x also here, React renders it two times, then you can understand that first time 11 happened, second time 12 happened. This is actually you don't want, and as a developer you should see that something like this is not happening, and that's why they are trying to render it two times, so that as a developer you see that there is a problem in my application and I should not do that. They suggest you, React suggests you that your component rendering should be pure, which means that something like this should not happen. So if you comment this, then now it is pure rendering, which means that whether you render it one time or multiple times, then it should not change. And this is just about first rendering. After that, obviously things will change. After that, let's say you create you add some state, which we'll see in the next video, or you update something based on the some data which you fetched from the server. All those things you can do, but the first render, what you are doing, first render means you can count both of them as the first render. The first page, when the first time the page is loaded, that time it should not happen that if whether it is rendered one time or two times, the output, the JSX returned should not be different. Okay, and there are a bunch of reasons for that. So for example, in the recent React versions, they are trying to do something called concurrent rendering in order to optimize for performance, something like that, right? So these things, if your components are written like this, then even in concurrent rendering the bugs will be lesser if you follow these practices. But again, this is just a new thing, so it's not hard and fast, but you should try to do something like that, which means that you should avoid impure rendering, which means that you should try for pure rendering, which means that avoiding side effects and avoiding different different JSX for different for multi rendering at the initial phases. Okay, now this thing is only done in dev mode. That is, let me tell you, right? So in prod mode, if you run exactly the same piece of code, okay, then it will not be run. So let me tell you. So this thing right now we are seeing that this is being done in dev mode. It is rendering twice. In prod mode, this will not happen. So this is just for dev mode. Okay, so right now, let's say in the future they might in the future also in prod mode they will not do that, because unnecessarily, what is the point of rendering it two times, right? So it should be rendered only one time. But in dev mode they are doing just to let you know that if you did some mistake, then you avoid that. But right, so that some sort of optimization can be done by React. But obviously, even right now, if you run in prod mode, then only one time it will be rendered. Now coming back to it, how to run it in prod mode. So what you have to do is that firstly you have to do something called Npm Run Build. Okay, so now if you see that you have a bunch of folders, node modules, and these things are there. There is no build folder. Right? What happens that you can run Npm Run Build, and what it will do is that it will create a production build which is optimized for production uses, and you can see here that a build folder is created automatically for you, right? And inside that all the content is there. And now what you do is that it's a simple like static site which you can serve using npm serve package or something. So they are also suggesting that you can use serve package. Right now, obviously you can install it globally and then run something like this, but again, We don't want to install much of the packages globally, and that's why what we are going to do is that we are going to install this package locally. Locally means for our project only, right? So we can do npm I serve, but we will do hyphen capital D, so that it is a development dependency, not a proper dependency. Why it is a development dependency? Because you will generally, this is not needed for your application. You are not importing serve in your application or somewhere, right? This is not for your application to run, like this website to run. Rather, just launching the website. This is sort of a development thing, right? That's why I will try to install it as a so right now you can see that there is no development dependency. There is just dependencies, right, which are these, but there are no development dependencies. So let's firstly run this, and then you will see that a new development dependency will be added. Now you can clearly see that this development dependency of package serve is added. And now what I can do is that I can use this and create a new script, and that new script can be, let's say prod. Okay, and then you can do and serve build. Okay, so this build folder I'm going to serve. Okay, so now if you do npm run prod, so right now you can see that localhost 3000 nothing is happening, but if you do npm run prod, then your build thing is served using serve package. Okay, and now if you refresh, then you can see that this thing is happening, right? But now all the auto refresh and all those things will not work, right? Because now if you change it to Alex or something, then this will not work. You can see that this will not work. In fact, even if you refresh, then also it will not work, because now your application code has nothing to do with this. This thing is rendered, this thing is being started from build folder, right? So until unless you do npm run build again, nothing will change. So that is the thing, right? So if you do npm run build again, and then you again do npm run prod, then npm run prod again you start, then now if you refresh, then now hello Alex is coming. So you can understand that this is not good for development purposes, right? In development purposes, you want that whatever you're changing real time, you should see that those things are changing, right? But finally, when you are done with your application, this is the way you should build your application and deploy it, right? How to deploy that we'll see later, but at least how to build like a production how to build how to create a production build and at least run it locally on your local system. So these things we can see right now. Now there is one thing which is different from client side. We will show you about like not two renders, single render. But before that, let me show you one thing, that if this is not a single page application right now, if you go and write something, then you can see that this is like 404. This is not good, right? Single page application, all the requests should go to the same page. Same page is what in this case, this my index.html is there, right? So this is like same as this thing, just slightly optimized, and that's why this is in the single line. But apart from that, this is where everything should happen, right? This is not happening. This is not happening here, right? Now what to do about that? Actually what to do is that there is a way of launching your application so that serve can launch it as a single page application. So serve package itself has a way of serving a folder as a single page application. And what is that? So for that, you can run a command called serve -help. This will give you all the options, all the various configuration options for serve, right? Obviously this will not work. Why this will not work? Because I have not installed serve globally. npm I-g, that I did not do. I installed serve only for this package, right? And that's why I can run this from node modules using npx. If I run this, then you'll see that a bunch of options will come. One of the options you'll see is called --single. Okay, so you can see --single, or short form of that is -s, single -s. So this actually, if you see, rewrite all not found requests to index.html. This is exactly the definition of single page application. Single page application rewrites everything to one page, and that is index.html. So whatever one page is there, that is one, which means that -s will run our will serve our build folder as single page application. So let's try that out. So before trying that out, let's run that command. Let's change our command, which means that here I can write -- single, or for short you can simply write -s. Okay, now if you run npm run prod, okay, npm run prod, if you now do, then this will be served as a single page application. So let's start, and now if you go and refresh, then you'll see that whether anything whatever URL you write, every time the same index.html, the same root page, that is index page, that is being rendered. Okay, so this is about how to create a production build and start it as a single page application using surf package. This is one thing. Second thing is, now let's see this thing, that how many times it is rendering. So obviously it should render one time, but for that I have to firstly build it, because again I made any change that will not reflect unless I build it again. This will create a fresh production build, and after that again I am going to run npm run prod, right? And then if I see, then you can see that only one time it is printed. So that is how it should be. But I showed you that in development build, when I did npm run npm simple start, then it is like starting development server, right? If it is starting development server, then it is like auto refresh, hot reload, all those things are there, and at the same time you can see that 2 times it is rendering. Okay, so that should be all. Now you should have a fair idea that what is development build, what is production build, and what is the difference, and how and why we are doing all these things, right? So that will be all for this video. See you in the next one.